Hey guys, have you ever wondered what all goes into creating a theater show? Well, here's Hannah to tell us a little more about how we can figure that out.
Hey, everybody. Voices Found Repertory, which is my theater company that I work very closely with here in the Milwaukee area, we've decided to put out a video series called Build a Bard Workshop. And our aim with this workshop is to show you, if you're a theater professional or just a enthusiast, how we take a play and bring it from the page to the stage. So this includes tutorials and discussions with directors, designers, actors, as well as roundtable discussions about all the different moving pieces that go into putting a play on the stage. So if you've ever been curious about this kind of thing, or if you are looking to start your own theater company and want a little bit of help, go ahead and check us out. We're on YouTube, Voices Found Repertory, and you could also check out our website at voicesfoundrep.com.
And if you want to keep updated with Voices Found Repertory, make sure to follow them on all their social media accounts on Twitter and Instagram at Voices Found Rep as well. And without further ado, please enjoy this episode of the General Geekery Podcast. And away we go.
Away we go.
Yes. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, this is the General Geekery Podcast, the podcast where we geek out about all that there is to geek out about, with no regrets, no remorse, and with all the enthusiasm in the world and beyond for this episode, so yes.
Indeed.
As always, this is Donald Kaczynski, your resident coffee ninja by day, your streamer, gamer, and actor by night. With me, as always, is the artistic maestro herself, Hannah Kubiak.
Hello.
And we got a fun little topic today.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, what do we got on the docket for today?
We are talking about alien abductions. Yes.
Good stuff.
The sightings, the speculations, the conspiracies. Is it real? Is it not? I don't know. I was researching it all, and I don't know. I still don't know.
Basically, one of the entire reasons why basically everyone on the internet wanted to raid Area 51.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was ridiculous.
That was probably like one of the weirdest things to like where did this come from all of a sudden?
Yeah. Oh man. And there were like I think in the military they have they do these tests where they test their recruits' ability to keep a straight face no matter what's going on. So they'll do a meeting where it's basically a drill of a ridiculous scenario. And one of the ridiculous scenarios that they came up with was if the Area 51 raid happens. And part of the guy's presentation, who was like trying to make them break, was him explaining what a Naruto run was and demonstrating it by like how to do it going across the conference room.
That's great.
And like, I know. I wonder. I hope nobody broke, but they probably did, because that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Whoever thought up that as part of the test.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, jeez Louise.
You gotta ask people. So, yes, you gotta stay completely serious while demonstrating this ridiculous thing.
Thank you, anime. Thank you for giving us that run.
Yes, indeed.
But,
oh man.
But yeah, just stories about aliens in general. I'm gonna be honest. I think we have a more fascination with aliens, just aliens in space in general, more than I think any other kind of thing. for some
You
reason,
mean you and me, or human beings?
I think just like as like the general like populace of humanity, for some reason we always have like the either a small or a huge fascination with just space, and we always have like a question deep within our subconscious: is life out there?
Yeah.
Like for some reason the thought crosses our mind at least like maybe once a year, once a month, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We just have a fascination with aliens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, in the case of alien abductions, because you said this was what we wanted to focus on, right?
Yeah.
So, so for the alien abductions thing, so me and Hannah both did a little bit of research into separate fields and things like that. I tried to track down some tidbits in more of the entertainment route through literature, radio, television, everything like that. And Hannah, I remember when we had the conversation with this, you said you were looking up actual sightings and everything like that to try to see eyewitness accounts and stuff.
Yep. I can... Oh, go ahead.
How did that go?
I learned a lot. You want to hear what I learned?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so most of my information comes from Wikipedia and History.com. So, Wikipedia defines alien abduction, sometimes also called abduction phenomenon, alien abduction syndrome, or UFO abduction, as a personally held belief in which the alleged abductee describes subjectively real experiences of being secretly kidnapped by non-human entities, aliens, and subjected to physical and psychological examination. These people are called abductees or experiencers.
Ah.
So, History.com says the first well-known UFO sighting occurred in June of 1947 when civilian pilot and businessman Kenneth Arnold reported seeing 9 objects glowing bright blue-white flying in a V formation at speeds of up to 1,700 miles per hour in the skies over Washington's Mount Rainier. The craft moved in sync, moving side to side and flipping quote, like the tail of a Chinese kite. So these things moving incredibly fast. Kenneth Arnold, we have Kenneth Arnold to thank for the term flying saucers, because he compared the flying objects to saucers. And that's how the term was coined. So because of this sighting and sightings like it, like this is the first documented one really. But but in 1948, the year after Kenneth Arnold saw these 9 lights in the sky, the Air Force initiated Project Sign, which was the first of 3 military offices tasked with collecting and analyzing reports of what were termed unidentified flying objects, or UFOs.
Right.
So the Project Sign investigators, their main focus, I think, was to figure out whether or not this had something to do with Soviet experimental aircraft, and they quickly concluded that it wasn't coming from behind the Iron Curtain. The flight characteristics didn't match those of any man-made aircraft, but some on the team embraced the idea that these unidentified flying objects were not of this world. So many people involved in this project, they hypothesized that the mysterious craft might be Soviet in nature, because this was during the Cold War. There was an Air Force officer named Edward Ruppelt and others, and they studied UFOs for the government. And they produced a report speculating that the sightings might be evidence of interplanetary or extraterrestrial craft, but the higher-ups in the Air Force rejected and destroyed this document on the grounds that there was no hard evidence. And to this day, no copies of that report have ever been recovered. So Project Sign eventually evolved into Project Blue Book, which is a covert initiative that investigates UFO sightings. Okay. some more UFO sightings. Roswell, New Mexico. What year was this? What year was this in Roswell? I think it was about in like 1948, around that same time.
You're talking about the supposed Roswell crash incident, right?
Yes, Roswell Crash, alleged crashed UFO. The Army claimed it was a hot air balloon or weather balloon. There's a quote from somebody who I failed to say who this is. We were doing Project Mogul at the time, which was high-altitude balloons fitted with high-powered microphones that were trying to listen to see if the Soviets were doing above-ground nuclear testing. So that's how the Army explained that one, which might be true and it might not be true. You can't just say that every single sighting is false or every single sighting is true,
Right.
I don't know what to believe. Okay.
All right, the year was 1947.
1947, the Roswell crash.
Yep.
Cool.
I had to double check to be sure. So.
Okay. Here's another incident. October 1st, 1948, Fargo, North Dakota. This incident is known as the Gorman Dogfight. So, former World War II pilot George Gorman was logging some night flying time as a lieutenant in the North Dakota Air National Guard when he spotted what he thought was the tail light of another craft, although the tower had no other aircraft on the radar, like the air traffic control, basically.
Okay.
Gorman had thought that he was alone in the sky. He flew within about 1,000 feet of the mysterious craft. So he actually went after this thing hardcore. The object was a white orb about 6 to 8 inches in diameter, and it made no sound and left no exhaust trail. And the orb made several high-speed maneuvers during which Gorman followed. So he's trying to chase this thing down, get some information, figure out what it is. Suddenly, the orb about faced and sped directly at him. Gorman took evasive action, and when he continued to follow the object, it flew straight upward so high that Gorman's P-51 stalled out when he tried to follow it. Even at speeds of 400 miles per hour, Gorman couldn't keep up with the object. The chase lasted for 27 minutes, and Gorman reported that there was definitive thought behind this object's maneuvers. So later, he drew a detailed diagram of the aerial maneuvers performed by himself and the mysterious light. He was not the only witness. The chase was also observed by air traffic control. And after the incident, Gorman's plane gave higher than normal radiation levels, which might just have to do with how high up in the sky he went or how fast or something like that. I'm not sure. There are a lot of theories about what this object was, that it was a Soviet aircraft, that it was another weather balloon, or that it was just like a reflection of Jupiter, which was particularly bright that night.
Interesting.
Right. That's 1948. That's one of my favorite ones, actually. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
A good one.
Okay. So, we're going to talk about 1952, the year of the Big Flap.
The Big Flap. What the heck?
Yep.
Okay.
That was the year America caught flying saucer fever. So there was this series of strange sightings reported in the skies over Washington, D.C., and the press and the public started to demand answers, and people like the military started to get concerned about this because there were so many sightings over the White House. There were unexplained radar blips, crafts that in some cases outran jets. And there was this paranoia that, was this a very real threat at the height of the Red Scare, or was it evidence of something far more mysterious? So yeah, the Washington, D.C. sightings of July 1952 are known as the Big Flap. Major American newspapers were reporting sightings by civilians, by military, so many that a special intelligence unit of the U.S. Air Force was sent to investigate. And this event, the Big Flap of July 1952, it fueled a lot of early conspiracy theories about a government plot to hide evidence of alien life. And there was several times these lights actually like buzz the White House, like just like coming in really close. And the military was actually just like really freaked about this, thinking it might pose an actual threat.
Interesting.
And yeah. Let's see here. Oh, okay. This is where it gets weird. This is where we start to not just hear about these craft flying through the sky, but people being taken by these crafts. This is where it gets weird.
Okay.
So, here's an alleged incident in March 1956 involving an Air Force sergeant named Jonathan Lovett, and he was assisting Major William Cunningham in the White Sands Missile Testing Grounds near Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico.
Okay.
I wonder if Holloman Air Force Base is anywhere near Roswell.
I'll look that up. I'll look that up.
Yeah. Because that would be interesting. Maybe there's some sort of significance to New Mexico. Maybe it's just because there's giant stretches of desert out there and you can do a lot of secret stuff in the desert without really being noticed. Aliens
Maybe.
creeping in the rocks.
Oh, now we're creating our own conspiracy theories here.
Yep, yeah. Okay, so they were searching for scattered debris from a recent rocket test, but then he heard a loud scream, and or Cunningham heard a loud scream. He thought Lovett had maybe been bitten by a snake.
Okay.
So he crosses the dune to help out his partner, and then at this point, he allegedly witnessed one of the more bizarre human extraterrestrial encounters. So this is also from history.com. Instead of finding Lovett nursing a snake bite, Cunningham, according to English, I don't know what that means, recounted seeing the soldier being dragged by a long serpentine arm wrapped around his legs, connected to a silver disc hovering in the air 15 to 20 feet away. Cunningham watched, frozen in horror, as Lovett was pulled inside the craft, which then rose vertically into the sky. But it would be 3 days before Lovett's nude corpse was discovered some 10 miles from the site of the alleged abduction. Are you ready for this? From all indications, the body had been exposed to the elements for 24 to 48 hours. The report offered no explanation of what might account for the missing third day, and the autopsy performed on Lovett raised more questions than it did answers. Now, Lovett's corpse had been severely mutilated. Okay, here we go. So, his tongue had been cut out, his eyes gouged, and for some reason, his anus was removed.
You want to repeat that last part? What the heck?
His anus was removed.
Dang.
In the Air Force medical examination report pertaining to the incident, I guess English is the author of this report, English, alleges that the coroner remarked on the apparent surgical skill used to remove the organs. Perhaps most puzzling was the fact that the body had been completely drained of blood, but surprisingly there was no vascular collapse usually associated with death by bleeding. So throughout the years, other mutilated corpses have shown up. There's also a great deal of cattle mutilations. Like, apparently these alien beings will abduct cattle and do experiments on them as well.
Okay.
And I'm going to, a little bit later, give a little bit of explanation of kind of what commonly people report happened to them when they were abducted. Like there's a pattern. There's like stuff that usually goes on or accompanies it. Yeah. Here's another one. Okay. September 1961. Betty and Barney Hill were driving in New Hampshire's White Mountains. They hadn't seen another car for miles, and they were being followed by a strange light in the sky. When they returned to Portsmouth, where they lived, they both had the unsettling sensation that something weird had happened. Their watches had stopped working, Barney's shoes were scuffed, and Betty's dress was ripped. They also felt strangely violated. 2 hours of the drive were missing from their memory.
Jeez.
Under hypnosis, the couple remembered bits and pieces of what had occurred, which was strange gray beings that had escorted them into a saucer-like ship the size of a house. They had been examined, then released with their memory wiped. And, let's see. Yeah, so that's an incident of people who were, like, they claimed that they had been abducted and that they've been returned. So for some reason, some people are returned alive, and other people, they return strangely dissected. Like corpses are found under the open sky with their eyes plucked out, tongue removed, and private parts excised, all extracted with the utmost precision and not leaving a drop of blood. So these unexplained mutilations have been carried out on both humans and animals. And it's baffled investigators for decades. There's speculation about whether the perpetrators might be otherworldly beings performing experiments on Earth's inhabitants.
Yikes.
Okay. Let's see here. Here's some of the common points in the narratives of experiencers. So, according to the CUFOS, I don't know what that stands for, something UFOS, in their definition of an abductee, the person must have been taken against their will by apparent non-human beings and taken to a special place perceived as extraterrestrial or to be a spaceship. And then they experience being subjected to an examination or to engage in some form of communication with the beings. The communication may be verbal or it may be telepathic. And usually they can't remember these incidents until they're recovered through hypnosis. So there's a consistent sequence of events that make up these close encounters. So, this guy, he's a folklorist, Thomas E. Bullard. He says that most abduction accounts feature the following events.
Okay.
So, the first event, capture. Okay. The abductee is somehow rendered incapable of resisting and taken from terrestrial surroundings to the alien spacecraft. Then follows examination and procedures. These are usually like invasive psychological and physiological procedures, and on occasion simulated behavioral situations, training and testing, or sexual liaisons.
Oh my.
Not quite sure what that means. Aliens? Ugh.
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 Well, I mean, for some reason, whenever people automatically think with alien abductions, they're like, oh, they want to understand human breeding or something.
Yep.
It's for some reason it's kind of a common occurrence that happens, and like especially for like when they play up alien abduction for laughs in media, specifically television.
Yeah, I think like in Slaughterhouse-5, when he said he had been abducted by aliens, he and this woman were kind of like they lived in a sort of quote-unquote zoo and were being observed. But, yeah. I don't know. Maybe the aliens just make them slow dance. I don't know.
Ay, caramba.
Next. Conference. The abductors communicate with the abductee or direct them to interact with specific individuals for some purpose. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that means, but it's here. It's one of the things that Bullard said. Sometimes the abductees are given a tour of their captor's vessel, not often. Quite commonly, they experience loss of time. They usually forget the majority of their experience, either as the result of fear, medical intervention, or both. They are then returned. They return occasionally in a different location, but usually it's the same location. Aftermath. The abductee must cope with the psychological, physical, and social effects of the experience.
And this is where the PTSD comes in.
Yes, exactly. Because this must be really hard to be an experiencer, because no one believes you. They think you're a crackpot, and you're also traumatized.
Yep.
Okay. Some common alien abduction signs and symptoms. Lights, strange mist, levitation or walking in a trance state, even through walls toward the craft, sometimes rising through a tunnel of light. Forced examination of the reproductive system, aka probing. Mostly young people get taken for this reason.
Yep,
the aliens are also interested in the cranium, nervous system, and skin, but they ignore the respiratory and cardiovascular systems, which don't seem interesting to them for some reason. Yeah, sometimes they're made to view screens displaying images and scenes that appear to be specifically chosen with the intent to provoke certain emotional responses in the abductee. So they're kind of trying to figure out, it seems, how the human mind works as well.
Intriguing.
Yeah. There's some testing. They put them in front of a complicated electronic device and instruct them to operate it. Usually the experiencer is confused because they don't know how to, but then when they try to operate the machine, they find that they actually do know how, which is very weird. I don't understand that. Usually experiencers are returned to the same location they were taken from. Loss of memory, loss of time. Somebody named Elizabeth Slater, she conducted a blind survey and found that primarily abductees can be prone to paranoid thinking, nightmares, and weak sexual identity, but she found no signs of psychiatric illness in most cases.
Man.
So, I don't know what's happening. There's lots of movies and shows about this stuff, and Donald, I know you're going to talk a little bit about that. People usually think of the X-Files.
Oh,
I grew up watching the X-Files, which is a 1993 to 2002. It ran that long. And it's about Agent Fox Mulder, who investigates alien abductions and other paranormal events after witnessing his sister's abduction by aliens when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a very amusing supernatural episode called Clap Your Hands If You Believe, which it's kind of a parody of all this stuff. Basically what it's about is while Sam and Dean are investigating a UFO sighting, Dean gets abducted from a crop circle.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Good stuff.
Yep. It's like the thing where what was it, he's being chased through this cornfield by all these lights, and then he gets out his knife and his gun, and he's like, "Come on!" And then they beam him up. And then a little while later, he reappears, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I was just slashing and firing and stuff." And I don't think anybody's ever done that before. They actually seemed surprised.
Makes sense.
That he resisted. I guess they were trying to take me to this table. I guess it was a probing table. Ugh, I should take a shower. Such a weird show in general.
Yeah, no kidding.
I love it. I was abducted by aliens. All right. What do you have? What's your
So, I really had to dig deep, and I mean as deep as I possibly could, because a lot of media, when it comes to alien abductions specifically, there's not as many stuff with alien abductions unless it's comedy related, which is kind of weird, because you get the real life stories of people that have come across things like that, and then you have all these different comedy-related events, and I'm like, what the heck? It's such a weird 180 turn when it comes to most media, but I did find some good examples. One obvious one would have to be the classic alien story, The War of the Worlds. A novel originally written and released in 1898 by H.G. Wells. For some of our viewers, more famously portrayed on an hour-long radio show from CBS, narrated by Orson Welles, for those that are more familiar with that radio program.
Yeah.
Which there are alien abductions in the actual story, because and I've actually read snippets from the original novel by H.G. Wells. So the original took place I think it was somewhere in the London countryside, and it was about halfway through the story, after the Martian people invaded, according to the text, and our main narrator was staying with this person at the time, and they were trying to keep quiet because the invaders were outside, and the other guy was losing it, and if I remember this correctly, I could be wrong. The narrator basically had to knock him out, and because aliens heard something, they found the guy that the narrator just knocked out and took him away, which the narrator assumed would be for the aliens in order to feed on their life energy or something like that.
Mm.
So I think in fiction, that's probably like one of the earliest forms of alien abduction. In a sense.
Okay.
But other than that, aside from like investigations of like alien abductions with like the X-Files and everything like that, it's either played for laughs, or most movies and films or something like that will make this big grandiose thing out of it, almost kind of like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Right. Yeah.
Because it always just ends up being this something big like that.
Yeah, they kind of do in the X-Files. I know they do. They go from one extreme to the other, where it's either it's very serious, like they suspect that someone has been taken and sent back, and they're trying to prove it. But then there's also sort of parody episodes, like this one called Jose Chung's From Outer Space, which is basically they're investigating a story about an alien abduction, but it just gets really weird. Like there's this sort of misanthrope kid who keeps trying to get involved in it, and he like says like, I want to be abducted by aliens, then I wouldn't have to get a job. You know? And
yeah, it's so weird. For like it's statements like that, like for some reason, like compared to like other kinds of like things like magic or any other kind of like geeky medium that you can encounter in media, for some reason today's media takes alien abductions very lightheartedly. I mean, there are alien abductions in kids' films that are sometimes played for laughs.
oh yeah, like that entire Pixar short where that alien was doing his first abduction and it was all going wrong.
I love that short. that was a hilarious short, but
yeah.
but yeah, like you have that, you have the Jimmy Neutron movie is apparently classified under alien abductions, which I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
I'm like, yeah, they abduct all the parents. I forgot about that. there's a Scooby-Doo movie where apparently Shaggy and Scooby get abducted by supposed aliens.
Oh man!
And that popped into my head when we were originally when I was originally looking into this topic. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There was an entire Scooby-Doo movie about that. I'm like, what the heck?
What about Galaxy Quest?
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, you want to talk about a good alien abduction movie? Galaxy Quest by far.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, speaking into that, like, I think probably one of the biggest series that has so many different histories with, like, alien abductions that happen kind of frequently almost is the Star Trek franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically the Next Generation.
Oh.
Which I have been rewatching a lot of on BBC America. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, BBC America, for having Star Trek Next Generation. And actually, when I was researching this topic, they were replaying the episode, one of the episodes where the crew of the Enterprise encountered the Borg.
Oh.
So for those not...
Is that the you will be assimilated?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes, so that one is basically like an alien abduction where you basically become part of the race.
Yeah, this friend of mine in high school, she and her entire family dressed up as the Borg for Halloween.
Kudos, 10 out of 10, beautiful. but yeah, like, sorry, choking on coffee. Oh, Scott. All right, sorry about that, listeners. But yeah, all of these, for most stuff in media, is usually played for laughs. I had to find examples from indie films about alien abductions and everything like that. And usually when it's either played for laughs or it's put into the horror setting.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, like, alien abductions fall into those two genre categories of either comedy or horror.
Yeah.
Which
it really depends.
Which is kind of interesting on it. I honestly could not find, like, with my resources, I couldn't find, like, a good documentary series about alien abductions or anything like that. Like, because I was looking through everything and I'm like, there's not even a History Channel or a Nat Geographic special about alien abductions. Maybe
there's something on History Channel made in 2019. It's a series called Project Blue Book. It's a series about the paranormal investigators in the Cold War days. So kind of the first episode is about the Gorman Dogfight.
Oh.
But it's more of like, it's not a documentary. It's like a dramatization.
Right.
Yeah, Neil McDonough is in it. He's like, he plays a military hard ass in pretty much everything.
Right. Oh, I just remembered another alien abduction thing. Like, that's tied to a big thing. Have you ever seen American Horror Story?
No.
Okay, so basically, long story.
I saw like the first episode of whatever it was, the guy with the lobster hands. Like, that was the first episode I saw, was how he made money, and I just freaked and didn't want to watch it anymore.
I think that one was Freak Show, but I don't remember. But
yeah.
So this one pertains to the second season, Asylum, where apparently there was like a, if I remember this correctly, and it's been years since I watched this season. It was like one of the only full seasons of American Horror Story that I watched. So I apologize to any listeners that who are fans of American Horror Story that actually know this. Please call me out if I'm getting this wrong. But one of the characters of that season, because each season of American Horror Story is different because it's presented as an anthology series.
Yeah.
Apparently aliens had taken this man and basically abducted him and like altered his memory in some way, which caused him to end up in the asylum where everything is, where everything takes place, and they're like observing him and studying him or something like that. Because you see the aliens and everything like that here and there at multiple times throughout that season.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like, extraterrestrial life keeps popping up here and there in the American Horror Story franchise.
You know, in season 2 of Fargo, which I think it takes place at about that time, like the Cold War, there's actually a scene where some sort of unidentified flying bright light shows up.
Dang. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's not really explained. No one talks about it. I'm not sure what to make of it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Never saw the Fargo TV series. Only saw the movie.
The TV series is pretty good.
I've heard it is.
Yeah, I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Let me see. Other movies with aliens in them. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Would you say that's like comedy or more serious? I remember seeing it and I think it's more serious.
I would say it's a little more on the serious route. It definitely doesn't go into the more comedy.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't go into the more comedy route.
Yeah, that's where we get the trope that gets repeated all the time of him building something out of mashed potatoes.
Oh yeah.
Right?
This means something. This is important.
Yeah. Yeah. Close Encounters. Mashed potatoes. I'm just looking it up because I don't remember what he built with the mashed potatoes. It was like the mountain where the aliens were going to show up, right?
I think so. It's been a long time since I saw that film.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah. It was the mountain where they were going to show up. And then the aliens communicated through music.
That's right.
Okay. So that's where the mashed potato thing comes from. E.T. the Extraterrestrial is another one.
I'll be
pretty good.
Right here. Both E.T. and Close Encounters being directed and produced by Steven Spielberg.
Yep. And this is more about not an alien abduction, but an alien that was accidentally left behind on Earth. And some kids find him and just their adventures with the alien. It was actually based off of a book.
I know.
Yeah.
It was heartwarming. We all fell for that little guy.
Yeah. Independence Day, 1996.
That's right. That's right. They actually re-mention all that with because I'm trying to remember. I was trying to remember the actor's name. Randy Quaid was actually playing. His character was actually allegedly abducted by aliens, which actually plays a factor into that story. Yeah.
Wasn't Jeff Goldblum in that as well?
Yep. Jeff Goldblum. The Goldblum was in
it. Yes. All I remember from that. Oh, and am I imagining it? Was Will Smith in it too?
Yes, Will Smith was in it.
Okay, cool. All I remember is the classic, the doctor with all the tentacles, and he's slammed up against the window, and he's like, "Release me," which there was an homage to that in Muppets from Space, which I never understood until I saw Independence Day, and I was like, "Oh, that's why that doctor gets like attacked by the rats and their tails all wrap around him, and he goes up against the window and says that for some reason.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the things you understand about movies you watched as a kid later. Here's a favorite of mine. Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's definitely in the comedy section, but it was not intended to be a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
It's 1959, directed by Ed Wood. It's about, can your heart stand the shocking facts about grave robbers from outer space?
My goodness.
So basically, yeah, aliens who went and would raise the dead to take over the planet, I think.
Oh,
You know, yeah, there's like whole things on YouTube, whole videos on YouTube of like the best, worst lines from Plan 9 from Outer Space.
oh, wait. I just remember this one thing from Independence Day. The guy who played the Doctor,
Yeah.
he's actually Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Brent Spiner.
What an Easter egg. I love it.
It's so it's just a random fact, but it's just like, oh my god, that's right. I forgot about that.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yep.
Oh,
You know, it's an interesting thing when you consider the humans who can think are so terrified of those who cannot think. They are the dead, brought to a simulated life by our electrode guns. Classic. I love it.
you know what's another really weird like alien like film?
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
You ever seen Mars Attacks?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, that is some lunacy from the mind of Tim Burton. Oh my god. Like,
Mars Attacks.
yeah, seriously, look it up and just look at the imagery of like how they like created these creatures.
Oh my gosh.
It's insane.
Yeah.
This one is
Ooh.
and it's a comedy that's played for laughs, and it's just like one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I'm like, this is a movie? This is really a film? The heck?
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
What about
ooh, you first.
what about the 1979 the Alien?
With Sigourney Weaver?
With Sigourney Weaver, yeah.
Oh.
Directed by Ridley Scott.
Ripley.
Shout out to Ripley, another female protagonist in the badass category.
I feel sad that we initially left her out on that one.
I know.
I've had so many people call us out on that, but
Yep.
yeah,
Me too.
but to my response on that, Ripley is in the same category as Princess Leia from Star Wars. That they don't even need to be mentioned. They have god tier privilege.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that is one of the most terrifying aliens. Like not
Yes.
just little green men, you know.
The xenomorph just
Yeah. Just
mwah,
so scary.
mwah. So
There's
good.
I feel like for the most part the little green men is kind of like the comedy alien.
Oh, it's a definite trope. Like,
yeah,
it's a definite trope when it comes to aliens. That usually it's like little green men is like usually like the stereotype trope when it comes to aliens.
yeah. Although, Agent Mulder from the X-Files would tell you that they're actually gray.
Right.
No, we're gray men.
Or if you're talking in the cases of Futurama, where basically alien abductions happen almost every day.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Little green men.
It can be anyone. It could be the little green men. It could be the big gray men, or it can be Lur, ruler of the planet Omicron, Persei 8. I was rewatching that episode because it was an actual alien abduction episode, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They actually had an episode centered around that.
Yep. Or like another comedic description of the aliens to quote Dean Winchester is that they were grabby, incandescent douchebags. Oh man, yeah. So the there's definitely a difference between like funny aliens who just abduct you and probe you, which there's a short movie on YouTube called They Are Made Out of Meat. It is hilarious. It's about two aliens talking about the humans that they've found and probed, and they don't understand why these humans are made of meat. I love it. It's great. The guy from Cash Cab is in it.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Let's see. Signs. Another scary alien.
Actually, yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot that one.
That's not M. Night Shyamalan, is it?
Yep, that is Shyamalan.
It is, yeah, with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix makes that film. I'm saying it right now. Like, the only reason to watch that film is to watch just the reactions of Joaquin Phoenix.
Yep.
Move,
pretty good.
Move, small children. Vamonos.
Oh my god.
I laugh.
Or like when the kids convince him that they have to wear tinfoil on their heads.
And then you see him with tinfoil on his head, and I'm like, this man is committed. This man is committed.
Ooh, here's another one. This is the last one on my on my list, which I don't know if very many people have heard of it. It's called Life.
I have not heard of this one.
It came out in 2017. It didn't get as much acclaim as I think it deserved, probably because it didn't have a happy ending. But basically, it was about the alien was really weird. It was almost like a spider or a goo kind of thing, but it would get inside your body and eat you from the inside out.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it would wrap around you from the outside as well and like break your limbs and stuff, like just ridiculous stuff. So it was basically these people who they found a tiny microbe on Mars or something. They started to cultivate it, and then it was still really tiny, but it attacked one of them. And basically they had this movie has Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, but no one's ever heard of it. But yeah, they basically they have to shut the lab, and there's one guy who's in there who's stuck in there. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but basically there's a whole scene where it's basically just him from the shoulders up and his reactions to being eaten by this thing that like crawled into his body. Like, it's disgusting. So cool. I loved this movie because I didn't see the ending coming.
Indeed.
Oh man. But yeah, that's definitely a scary alien.
Nice. Man. But yeah, when you compare like alien abductions and just aliens in general in fictional media to like the sightings and abductions that many people have claimed that they have been, like, what a world of difference. Yeah. There's an entire world of difference. And yet
it definitely harkens to our fear of the unknown and the fear of things being bigger than us, like feeling small in the world. You know, it's small in the universe. We don't know what's out there, and it terrifies us.
Which is oddly inexorably tied to our constant fascination with discovery and basically everything beyond the stars.
Yeah. Like, we've got curiosity and fear. We want to explore, we want to find new things, but also we're afraid of finding new things.
It amazes me most times how often those two traits coincide. Yeah. Never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah. Yes. Every human being is a living paradox.
Welcome to Earth.
Yep. Welcome to Earth.
Will Smith just puts a cigar in his mouth. Now that's what I call a close encounter.
Oh my gosh.
Me and my family quote that movie way too damn much. Way too much. Somebody help us.
I think we've covered this topic pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to add. I think that's it. Yeah, pretty much a bow tie on the entire thing. Alien abductions. We're never going to stop being fascinated by them one way or another.
Yep.
But my God, the early history of it, and just like the horrors of like the mutilation, everything like that, to how lightly we take it in the media most times, just
yeah.
What a world of difference. But
yeah,
one thing is obvious: we're never going to stop wanting to know more.
Yep.
Until the day comes we actually know as much as we need.
And
then all of a sudden, something will happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
but that will be for the future, not for right now. So, I think we can end that right there. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the General Geekery podcast, all about aliens and alien abductions. Nice. So, if you guys liked what you listened to, please make sure to follow us wherever we can be found, where podcasts can be listened to. We are on Spotify. We are on Spreaker. We are on Stitcher. Still working on Apple Podcasts because Apple's being very difficult with me. But I know. But we're also on YouTube at Anime Rev Productions, which is my personal YouTube channel for all other projects. You can also check us out on social media at General Geekery on Facebook and on Twitter, and at Gen Geek Podcast on Instagram. I believe that's the right thing. No, wait.
No, it's the opposite.
It is the opposite. I got it wrong. Dang it. So yeah, Gen Geek Podcast on Facebook and Twitter, and General Geekery on Instagram. There, I got it right. I apologize.
Good job.
Hannah, where can they check you out at?
Well, you can find me rolling dice with my party every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on Loaded Dice Adventures. It's twitch.tv/Loaded Dice Adventures. We actually just reached affiliate status, so you can subscribe now, and you can do all sorts of fun things. We are going to be, trying to get like better microphones, better cameras, better prizes for the giveaways that we do. We do a lot of giveaways on this show. We love it. We love treating our viewers.
I've gotten Dyson minis off of this.
Yep. They are all excellent. The minis are hand painted by our DM.
Praise be to Fenric. That's what I named the mini that I got. So.
Oh, nice. And you can also find me on Instagram at Pythian Legume.
And you guys can check me out at social media at Ryuzaki MK7 on Twitter and Instagram. And you guys can also check my channel out at twitch.tv/Ryuzaki MK7. Where I stream a variety of different games right now. Right now, I think I'm going through Final Fantasy VII Remake on there. So I play a lot of RPGs, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
a lot of RPGs. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 33 of the General Geekery podcast.
Can I sign us out?
Yes, go right ahead.
Woo! Okay. Thank you all for listening. As always, that's Donald Kaczynski. I'm Hannah Kubiak. Never give up, never surrender. The truth is out there. Keep your geek on.
Always. Clink, clink.
Clink, clink.
Yes. Oh, that was a loud one. Later, guys.
Bye.
Keep watching the skies.
Yeah.